Before there were dozens of clans, before there were endless banners flying across the galaxy, before there were alliances, rivalries, and entire communities built around faction warfare, there were only two: TSE and TGO. That was the beginning. Two sides standing against one another, shaping a world that was still finding its identity. Many who stand with us today were not there to see those days. They did not witness the battles. They did not witness the rivalries. They did not witness the foundations being laid. But they inherited something born from that era. They inherited legacy. The Sith Eclipse was not created in a crowded galaxy. It helped create the galaxy itself. When people speak of the history of our community, our name is woven into its earliest chapters. We were there when the story began, and because of that, every generation of TSE has carried a responsibility, not simply to exist, but to continue something bigger than themselves. Then came the day that could have been the end. The old order was dissolved. The galaxy we had known for years was no more. What had once seemed permanent vanished almost overnight. Just like that, an entire era disappeared. The banners fell, the battlefields emptied, the institutions people had spent so long building disappeared. For many communities, that would have been the final chapter. Their stories ended there. Their memories became history. But our story was bigger than ourselves, because TSE has never been defined by a system. It has never been defined by a title. It has never been defined by the structures surrounding it. TSE has always been defined by its people, and when a new age dawned, something remarkable happened. The Sith Eclipse returned. Not just because it had to, not because it was easy to, but because there were still people who believed it deserved to live. People who remembered what TSE stood for, people who refused to let the story end, until a new era began. The Shattered Eclipse. It was not a perfect era. It was definitely not an easy era, but an era filled with determination. The years that followed brought incredible highs. Moments where activity flourished. Moments where events were packed. Moments where the future seemed limitless. Entire generations of members found a home beneath our Eclipse banner. Friendships were formed. Memories have been created. Legacies have been built. But with every high came challenges. Emperors changed. Leadership changed. Priorities changed. Real life called people away. Disagreements happened. Mistakes were made. Some eras thrived. Others struggled. Some leaders inherited strength. Others inherited uncertainty. Yet, every emperor, every officer, every trainer, every member faced the same question. How do we keep the eclipse burning? That question has echoed throughout our history, and every generation answered it differently. Some rebuilt, some expanded, some modernized, some simply held the line when times became difficult. But all of them contributed something, because history is not written by one leader, it is written by many. No single emperor built TSE. No single generation built the TSE. The clan that stands before us today is the result of years of sacrifice from countless people who gave their time, energy, creativity, and passion to something they believed in. Some names are remembered by everyone, others are remembered by only a few, but every one of them helped shape the story. And that is why I believe our greatest achievement is not victory. It is not a rank or a title, it is survival. Year after year, era after era, leader after leader, the Sith Eclipse continues. Not because the path has been smooth, but because whenever things became difficult, somebody stepped forward. Somebody cared enough to try. Somebody believed the story was worth continuing. And that's why I'm proud of this clan. Not because we have always been successful, but because we have always endured. When other groups faded away, we remained. When circumstances changed, we adapted. When people doubted us, we carried on. When the galaxy moved on, the Sith Eclipse continued to write its story, and today, every single member here is a part of that story, whether you joined us years ago or yesterday, whether you hold a high rank or no rank at all. You are now part of something that has survived countless challenges, something that outlives errors, something that has refused to disappear. One day, years from now, there'll be another generation standing where we stand today. They will look back on this era the same way we look back on those early days of TSE and TJO. And when they do, I hope they see the generation that cared, a generation that fought for activity, a generation that fought for one another, a generation that refused to let the eclipse fade. Because that is our true legacy. It's not power or status, not dominance or perseverance, the willingness to keep moving forward no matter how many times we are challenged. We were there when the story began. We survived when the old order was dissolved. We returned when the new age dawned. We endured through every rise and every fall. And after everything this community has experienced, the Sith Eclipse still stands. Not weakened, not forgotten, still standing, still fighting, still writing history. And as long as there are people willing to believe in what we have built together, the eclipse will never truly end.